3. Perfect. All right, the next things we're gonna get into the upper extremity. The midline structure is the sternum. Here's the manubrium. From this point, I want you to palpate this sternoclavicular joint. That's called the SC joint. So we're gonna palpate it where we're behind the client. I'm gonna place one finger on the sternum, one finger on the clavicle. Then we're gonna need that to move so that we can tell there's motion between our fingers. This bone is the one that's gonna be moving. This bone stays still. So I come behind the person and then I palpate them. I bring the humerus up and I lift it towards the ceiling. When that does that, the clavicle is going to hinge like this. Alrighty, so for you, Dr. Cantu, we're gonna palpate in this region. Are you okay with that? Okay, make sure you confirm that it's all right to palpate them in this region. We don't want any triggers happening, especially when we're behind them, reaching to the front to palpate. All right, from here, find the bony resistance of the manubrium. Then I'm gonna have it go out laterally, be skin on skin, get on the clavicle. From that point, I bend down, but I'm not having my hand press against his throat. I don't want there to be any contact onto the throat. I grab this elbow joint and then I raise it up towards the sky and I can feel motion is confirmation of the joint. That's what I want you to say. Motion is confirmation of a joint. The next joint is gonna be the acromioclavicular joint, AC joint. The acromion's on the scapula right here. This is the clavicle, so AC. From this point, you feel your own clavicle, go out towards the bump and find where the bump's at. This is where your bump is gonna be because there's ligaments extending over this joint. When you find the bump, I want you to put one finger on one side of the bump, one finger on the other side of the bump. After you do that, I want you to bring your hand like this and see if you can feel motion of the acromion posteriorly. So you'll have the contacts just like this and this. You'll have their arm like this, and then you're going to bring it forward or anterior. When that happens, you should feel motion underneath this finger. If your finger is on the humerus, you will feel motion, but you'll not be on the correct joint, and you won't receive credit for that. So make sure that you're on these two bones specifically. For Dr. Cantu, this is what it looks like. We are going to go and find the clavicle. I'm palpating out laterally. Here's the bump. I can feel change in the osseous tissue right out here. And here's his acromion. This is the clavicle. At this point, I bring his hand anterior and I could be on a better location. There's the acromion. I can feel it swiveling backwards or retracting. Underneath this finger, I can feel the clavicle, and the clavicle is actually moving a little bit as well. The majority of motion is felt in this finger and then maybe a little bit at the clavicle region. Other than that, motion is confirmation of the AC joint on the right. Simple.